Yo, so over the weekend, we have Fundora versus one-time Keith Thurman. Controversial stoppage. What? This on a different setup, technical difficulties. Y'all just gonna have to forgive me, but nonetheless, we're gonna still have to break this down. So over the weekend, we got Keith Thurman versus Fundora. Keith Thurman gets stopped in the 6th round, and then in the post-fight, in the press conference, he gets on the mic and he says, people who went all 12 or broken orbital bones, and the ref told me I had to show something, and he was going to continue to let the fight on, and this ref shouldn't be allowed to referee main events. He was talking a lot about how he thought the stoppage was early. I think the stoppage was just on time. The ref was looking for anything to stop the fight, in my opinion, but I think that was the right call. Now, if you don't know Fundora and you didn't watch this fight, you just watching this breakdown because you heard a little bit about this fight, you want to hear what happened. Fundora is 6'6", fighting at 154 pounds. The average height around that weight class is probably like 6 foot to 6'2". If that, 6'2" is kind of pushing it. This man is 6'6", that's heavyweight height. Fighting at 154, you know, everybody's body weight is different. So I'm not gonna call him a weight bully, but the difference is crazy. Keith Thurman, he's a normal size, 154 pounder. He looked a little big in there, but he getting older, so his body's just gonna look a little big. But how did Fundora break down Keith Thurman? So it started out early with Keith Thurman deciding that he was going to be on the back foot. And right here, when I saw this is when I knew that Keith Thurman lost this fight. Keith Thurman being on the back foot early, he's going to be at the end of Fundora's punches, where Fundora is going to have the most snap, the most power on his shots. And Keith Thurman, he doesn't do a lot of upper body movement. He does a lot of hands high, and he does a lot of leaning back. And Keith Thurman, yes, Keith Thurman loves leaning back, and that's another thing. So as the fight goes on, Fundora is, figuring out Thurman's rhythm. He's coming in with his head down low, and then he gets a couple shots in, he stands up, and he goes back on a straight line. And Fundora, seeing this, in the next few rounds, we see Fundora starting to time Keith Thurman's rhythm, his patterns. These fighters, if they don't fix their bad patterns, these bad habits, a fighter who has just enough IQ, who might not be good enough and as good as this other opponent, but he's going to make you pay for them patterns, and he's going to score off them patterns. A lot of people say, oh, what are you talking about? This is exactly what I mean. Keith Thurman, we see he was boom, he was one and done, or he was 2 shots and done, and he was standing up and he was going back on a straight line. That didn't fly with Fundora. Nah. Fundora, he started catching him on the outside, and then not only did he start catching him on the outside, we see in like the middle of this fight, he started catching him with uppercuts when Thurman was gonna go lead down. And then towards the end of the fight, before he stops Keith Thurman, he just starts timing Keith Thurman's entries now. Anytime Keith Thurman tried to enter, he was getting hit with stiff jabs. His face was getting all bruised up. The ref was seeing this. I was seeing this. I knew it was over. Fundora knew it was over. He was stepping on the gas. Keith Thurman wasn't really doing nothing. Now, Keith Thurman, he was complaining in the press conference, saying that it was stopped early. But I was listening to it in 0.5, and I'm watching it, and I'm trying to see what did Keith Thurman, what was he doing trying to say that he was showing something? And I hear the ref when I'm watching the fight saying, show me something, show me something. And Thurman's not showing anything. He's crossing his legs. He's backing himself up in the corner. And then when he gets in the corner, he just puts his hands up. And then he ducks down, he circles around, and then he ends up right back on the ropes. And this happens like 3 to 4 times before the ref finally breaks it up and stops it. So I'm just confused on why this ref is getting criticism for Keith Thurman. I feel like Keith he was probably doing a lot more than he actually was in the ring. Now, his mind was probably working overtime, but his body just wasn't. His body just wasn't. The ref cannot read your mind. If it looks like you're in trouble, Keith Thurman, the ref is gonna try to save you. So you're not showing nothing. You just circling around, not throwing any punches, not moving your head, just hands up, taking all these shots. The corner or the ref is gonna see that, and they're gonna call it off every single time. Now, I'm looking forward to Zayas versus Boots. That's a banger down in Brooklyn. This is how Fundora brutally beat up Thurman. And I'm gonna call it what it is. That's what I saw. I've never seen Thurman's face look like that. Congratulations, Fundora. You did your big one. Yeah.